Good morning, everyone. I am so excited about today's talk show. Can you see why? Do you know who this man is? He is the legendary Joe Arpaio, and we want you to watch the show in entirety because this man is finally going to get an uninterrupted platform where no one can cut him off, change his words, nothing like that. So this is going to be very impactful. So please join us, like, share, make comments, join the conversation, and we're very, very happy that you're here. We first want to thank Razor Thin Media and Cameron Davis behind the camera for creating this beautiful banner behind us and forcing me to do this show because I wouldn't have done it without him. So we are so happy that you joined us, and we're going to start live here in just a few seconds. So glad that you're here. Are you ready to go, Sheriff Joe? It's okay if I
shoot.
Shoot?
Oh, I shouldn't say that.
Well, it's okay. You're not going to get you're not going to get in trouble. I promise
Just
you.
shoot you. That's what they do. They shoot you when they film you.
That's right. They do shoot. So Cameron is shooting both of us live right now, and I think we're getting an audience building. I hope. Is everyone joining us, Cameron? Okay. So just so you know, after the show is complete, we're going to go over most likely the 30-minute timeline that we normally have because we're going to go as long as we want with this remarkable man. So later, after the show is over, it will always be on my Facebook Live business page, but it'll also be archived to PaysonAZProperties.com. So I think we should just jump right in, don't you, Joe?
Let's go.
Okay. So first off, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
It's remarkable that you're here.
Where am I?
Yeah.
You know, I've gone all over the world. This looks like Mexico.
It does? With all these pine trees and everything?
Oh, I'm sorry. It looks like my home, Massachusetts. Okay. I didn't
You
know
got
you
in
had
trouble
That's
for
pretty nice.
making... Well, there's a lot of misconception. Well, why don't we just jump right into the meat of it? Because I think there's a lot of Americans out there that were deeply concerned when the Obama administration went after you for profiling Hispanics for coming over the border illegally. And some people didn't like that. So why don't you tell us what your experience was and what you think happened to you at the...
I have to correct you when you said there's a lot of Americans. No, I don't have an ego, but I've been on 4,000 international and national shows, so I'm kind of a world sheriff.
Yes, you are. Yes,
and
you
then
are.
I didn't ask for it; it just came.
Why do you think you became the world sheriff, though?
Well, I think when I ran for office, it was 1992, and I got elected and took office January 1, 93. But I had another life, which we'll get into, I presume. But I kind of grew a little when you talk about public relations. And I have an open door policy. And I believe in going to the people. And one way you get to the people, sometimes through the news media. So love-hate relationship. With that open door policy, I let the media in. They can go to the tents, talk to anybody. I have nothing to hide. So and then some of my programs were very controversial. So I built that platform as years went by. And by the way, I've been sheriff for 24 years. Pretty proud of the fact that I survived.
Yes. And
I'm the longest serving sheriff in the history of Maricopa County. In fact, when you go back 100 years, that's the last time a Republican was reelected. Now, I did it 6 times, going on 7. So I don't know how I survived.
It's remarkable, isn't it? And I do think you'll go down into the history books as one of the most legendary sheriffs of all time. And you know, most people don't know this about me, but I'm going to show you something right here. I get to look at this handsome guy every day. See? Everyone remember Tombstone? This is Wyatt Earp. Well, he played Doc Holliday in this, but I think Tombstone, the last great famous sheriff, especially in Arizona, was Wyatt Earp, and I think people loved him because he was all about justice. He was tough on lawbreakers, and he was courageous. And I think from what I've observed, and I'm observing from the outside in, but you hit me also as tough and courageous. And I know of a man that went into Tent City. I'd like to talk about Tent City too, because everyone was really harping on you about that. But I heard an inside story that was really remarkable. And that man came out changed. Because why don't you first tell us a little bit about Pink Tent City, because I know that was one of your controversial programs. And then I'd like to interject a story of transformation once you tell us what happened in Pink Tent City for you and why you established it.
First of all, let's go back when I first ran in 92. I said 3 things. Going to put up a tent city, build up my volunteer posse, get tough on crime. So I kept my promise. Mm-hmm. Took me 8 months to find I said Korean War tents. I joined the Army when the Korean War broke out. I was 5 years old then, because if I said 1950, somebody will pull their machine out.
Yeah.
Oh, he was 18, and he joined the Army in 50. Because when I ask a question, they can't think. They have to go to this.
Right.
Okay? If you're 18 and you join the Army 1950, I ask all these kids, how old am I? They can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Maybe you can either. I don't know. You can embarrass me. You can tell everybody how old I am.
I know how old you are.
Well, I was 18 when I
Yep.
joined the Army in 1950. What does that make me?
87 years old.
How do I look like I'm 87?
No, and not
You want
at
to
all.
see my papers?
Yes, yes, driver's license, please. I forgot to get his driver's license before we started the show.
I'm 87 years old. I look 87.
No.
But
no.
You know what? My father came from Italy. Actually, my mother died giving her life for me because she would refuse an abortion. So I don't know about the genes. My father died cancer when he was 73. Mm-hmm. So my mother must have had good genes, because everybody said, geez, you can't be 87.
It's
you
true.
look like you're 60. Yeah,
That's
it's okay.
true.
I
And
drink the Italian olive oil. That's how you stay young.
That's right.
Huh?
You rub it all over your face and
No,
your arms.
I drink it.
And you
I
drink
don't put it on my face.
Oh my gosh, okay.
But Korean War tents.
Yeah.
I had I couldn't find the tents. Had to go to New Mexico, and anybody in the service knows what a midnight requisition is. So I got the tents, put them up in the desert, August 1993, and they've been there. Great program. 500,000 people had come through the tents. Now I ran 6 other jails. Usually average about 10,000 in jail a day. Wow. So the tents, great program. And with Amnesty International and the ACLU, 4 presidential candidates visited the tents. I'm saying, why is it so bad? But you know how I shut everybody up?
Yeah,
Very
please tell
simple.
us.
Very simple. If our men and women can fight for our country,
That's right.
and they live in the tents, all you convicted people serving time, and only put guys and gals convicted, shut your mouth. And actually, nobody can fight that. I mean, they get me on other things. Well, they'll say the tents it's 130 degrees in the tents in the summer. Well, it's kind of a little lie, but I did get smart. I picked up a thermostat, and I could gain 15 degrees because I go right up to the top. So it's really not 130. It's like 115 or something, really.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's a great program. A lot of people have come through. Now, I'm a citizen. I can't believe everybody I see, whether I go to get a car fixed, no, everybody's telling me, oh, I spent time in your tents. It looks like the whole world spent time. I've had actors, ball players. I can keep going.
Yeah.
Spending time in the tent city, but I'm very happy. When I go to raise money, I put a tuxedo on for Heart, and the waitress will come up to me. It's amazing. All of them will whisper in my ear, sir, if I spend time in your tents. I say, this is great. You got a job, you're working hard.
Yeah.
Just when you serve me the food, don't spit in it first. So that's what I say. But it's really great to see all the people that spend time. Actually, I could pick up 50% of the vote, probably in the whole jail. 2.5 million have come through the jail since I've been sheriff. Sometimes I wonder, how do I ever get reelected when 2.5 million have come through the jail system? But I'm a nice guy. Now, just because I took away all their meat, I know you guys around here are probably killing...
Deer
I don't know,
elk.
what do you kill around this place?
Elk and deer. And,
yeah. See, I'm a big animal rights because I lock up anybody that abuses dogs. We just celebrated National Dog Day.
That's right.
And oh boy, I can tell you how we go after those that abuse dogs. I don't want to get R-rated here.
You can if you want. No one's going to shut you down.
Well, it's very unique because I found some big high official on a lamb. Now, it's not that he was running away. So they had no law, no bestiality law. So I had to go to the legislature to get it passed. So then I could go after those that mess around with horses. One guy came all the way from Philadelphia to make love to a horse. Don't they have horses in Pennsylvania?
Right.
So I started locking these people up.
Good for you. I think tough love, when you're tough on crime, you're also a tough lover, because the two stories that I have heard directly, one in particular, the man was just a loser. He didn't want to pay child support. They got tired of his excuses, so they threw him in tent city for 30 days. And they said, when you come out, you need the money. So they brought him out. He gets in front of the judge, and the judge goes, where's the money? He goes, are you kidding me? How do you think I'm supposed to get the money when I'm in tent city? And the judge goes, back in the hole, 90 days. And he said, you came in one day with a bullhorn and started, telling him, you bunch of sissies. If I hear one more person complaining, I'm going to put you in fatigues and put a backpack on you and send you out in the desert where our brave men and women of our military fight for your freedoms day in and day out. So I don't want to hear any more complaining. When he was released 90 days later, someone met him there with a check. And when the judge said, do you have your money? He said, yes, Your Honor, I do. Here's some money. And the judge said, good, I don't ever want to see you come back. And he's never been back since. He attributes all of that to your tough love.
Well, I'm pretty tough on child support. I used my volunteer posse, which I had almost 3,000. I'm not going to talk about today what's happening in that sheriff's office, but everything's gone. And George Soros, the rich man, pumped in $4 million to get me out of office, and then the prejudiced, biased federal judge hung me and went after me the day the election started. You don't do that in the Department of Justice. So I had a lot of things against me in 2016.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to go back again because the tents are going up. I'm going to continue to crack down on illegal immigration.
Yeah.
I was head of the federal drug enforcement in Turkey, Syria, Mexico, South America, also head of the DEA in Texas, Arizona, so I had another life. Right now, the two hottest areas in the world, that our great president has to put up with is Turkey, Syria, Mexico, South America, the border. And I've been there. So I'm going to utilize that background to help him out. Number one, help him out to make sure he can continue his job. And number two, make sure he gets reelected. So I look at that. Look at my background. I don't want to give you my resume.
Well,
or
I'm
anything.
going to talk about your resume because it's stellar. I mean, you're a Korean War veteran with the Army. You were a police officer for a long time in a couple of states. You even locked up someone famous.
I locked up a lot of people famous as sheriff. So, no, I was when I left the Army, I always wanted to be a cop, so I flunked the Border Patrol test in 1954, but I passed the Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police, so I became a cop in Washington, D.C., walked a black beat, almost 4 years, and I don't know if I should say this.
Go ahead.
But statute of limitations has disappeared. But they're accusing me of racial profiling.
Yeah.
Which is wrong. I'm not going to get into those courts and Obama and Holder. After 60 days, Holder took over as Attorney General and Obama went after me.
Yeah.
Took them 8 years to get me. They could get me on nothing but a contempt of court. And I'm not going to get into the judge bias. You won't believe it. But they said I racial profile. I don't racial profile. Now, maybe I did.
Well,
maybe I did.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Maybe I did racial profile way back when I was a cop walking a black beat. Because when you see a white guy in the alley at 2 a.m. and everybody's black, I would imagine that guy is there probably looking for hookers or something, so you go up to him. What are you doing here at 2 o'clock in the morning? I probably never would have gone up to him, if it was a black guy, although I locked up a lot of people on that beat. It's only common sense. So I don't know. Is that racial profiling? I don't know. The blacks won't say it. Now, if it was all white and it was a black, and I did that, wow, racial profile. So you have to use common sense.
Yes.
Common sense, when they always talk about race, they're throwing cops under the bus, and I'm raising a lot of money to give the cops' wives and family when they're thrown under the bus, because a video comes out, the mayors, not the mayor here, he's a good guy, but
Yes,
some of
he
the
is.
big cities, they'll throw the cops under the bus because they can't take the heat, and they take it out on the cops. It's always racial profiling. So it's sad what's going on in our country today, especially with the cops trying to do their job. And if they look at you crooked, they're going to be under investigation. And the sad part of this, because most of the crimes that are solved are when the cops be a little proactive. And if they're afraid that they stop someone, checking them out, and something goes wrong, because they all have cameras now.
Yeah.
Cameras. I mean, I'm not a big advocate of cameras, but all the police chiefs, it's great to have cameras. It protects our cops. Really? Okay. Do you like, if you saw a video with the cops fighting and you send them down the tube before you even investigate, because the video is out there, it hits national attention, right away all the politicians, we got to show something that we're doing something. It's sad, the climate we're living in today. Now, I'm not going to, now the president, I've been with him many times. I'm the one in July 2015, right in this state, in Phoenix, when he had his first rally. Nobody would stand on his stage. I'm the only, I guess there are 16 people. I'm the only guy They went on the stage. I introduced him, and I said three things. Number one, there's a silent majority out there. This is way back, day one. We're born on the same day, not year. I got them by a couple years. Flag Day, June 14, okay? And then I said, you are going to be our next president. I guess I was right. Then I mentioned something else. Excuse me, all my political people, don't ever mention this. But I'm going to mention it.
Good.
I don't care. I think if you had a fake government Hawaii official document, you'd be in jail. Now, there's a ex-president that has a fake government official document that I've been investigating for 5 years. Now, I'm a law enforcement guy. I've been a top federal guy for years. I'm not stupid. When the Tea Party comes to me and says, please, you're the only one left that will look in this. So I looked at it. They want me to investigate the president, you know. And I decided to look at that document. From day one, I said I could care less where the ex-president's from. He could be on Mars. All I am doing is investigating a fake government document. Everybody tells me, don't talk about that. Don't talk about it. Well, I'll tell you one thing. 120%, that's a fake government document. I had to go to Italy, since that's where, to find the forensic experts. In Hawaii. And I'm going to leave it like this. Anybody would like to see my report? There is nobody in the universe, media or anybody, that will come and say, Sheriff, I'd like to see what you got. I'm going to leave it at that. I've done my due diligence. I've done my thing. I'm finished with it. So it's going to be up to someone one day to say, can we look at your report? Now, am I going to say I have a smoking gun? You know, probable cause. I got a smoking cannon. It's not a gun. So that's it. Because you're so nice, you probably wouldn't ask me that. But
No,
I don't care. I wish you would have asked me, then I didn't have to volunteer.
Well, is there a question, Cameron? On
There's all
the
kinds of. The cool thing is you're getting watchers from Hawaii, Arizona,
You hear that?
Michigan. They're coming in from all
What?
over the place.
There's people watching all over the country, and some of them have questions directly for you.
You
So,
want me to answer them?
yeah,
I don't
why don't you
care.
bring one up, Cameron?
So, what do you think of the mayor of Chicago?
What?
I don't know what it has to do with Hawaii, but I'll be glad to answer it. I'll tell you what. I talked about throwing cops under the bus. They had thrown a couple Chicago cops under the bus. And I believe a couple of days ago that the chief of police said something about protecting our president, who I believe will be in Chicago. For the last 3 months, I've gone to the mayor, I've gone to the chief of police. I said, I want to come to Chicago. I married my wife in Chicago. I became a federal agent in Chicago, 57. My son Rocco was born in Chicago. I was an undercover agent in Chicago. I was an agent, but I like working undercover. So I know Chicago. I want to go to Chicago. I want to go into the black neighborhood. And she, the mayor, opened the door when she went after me in criticizing our president for issuing a pardon, which he was right, over this Mickey Mouse contempt of court charge. So if the guys from Chicago get somebody to invite me, and I'll be glad to go down there, give my typical speech, and maybe give the mayor some advice. But she doesn't answer to my request. I've been in battle with her, and she doesn't have the guts for me to go to Chicago, since I know Chicago, and help her out. So it won't happen, but one day I'm going to get there. I'll give my speech, and I want to get as close to the neighborhood where they're killing people. Every month, many people are being killed, and I want to go there, see if I can help.
So here's another comment. I thought this was really cool that goes with Val Kilmer. Sheriff, we need you back. Wyatt Earp isn't available right now.
Well, see, Wyatt Earp, I got a pretty good memory.
Yes, you do.
Oh, I can tell you every guy I locked. No, I can't tell you everyone I locked up, because that'd be thousands. But Wyatt Earp, he was the sheriff. He wasn't a U.S. Marshal.
He was the sheriff, I believe. Yeah.
Because you got marshals, U.S. Marshals, sheriffs.
Okay.
One of my friends, who's the mayor here, I don't want to insult him. He was the chief marshal. And I always say, it takes 10 marshals to make one deputy sheriff, but that's another thing. So I get mixed up on marshals, sheriffs in the old days. Now everybody knows I'm the sheriff. Mm-hmm. They don't think I'm a U.S. Marshal.
No, that's correct. No
So
confusion there.
Here's another question, and you might have to repeat these so that people can hear, but what do you look forward to the most in the next 10 months running for sheriff in 2020?
Okay, so the question is, what do you look for the most in the next 10 months running again for sheriff of Maricopa County?
Well, first of all, my wife, 61 years.
Congratulations.
I don't know how she lasted, but she's great.
Yes,
and
she is.
She stuck with me. She just had a rattlesnake bite her, which made national news everywhere I go in the country. How's your wife doing? Maybe I ought to get bit by a rattlesnake.
You already have. Just not of the real serpentine kind.
And she came down with cancer when I was in court. And she loves Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. Used to watch Fox all the time. And I told he was a candidate then, and I mentioned that story. How she under the treatment helped watching him.
Yeah.
So he's called her right away. He's called my wife several times to see how she's doing. And he didn't have to use my wife to hook me like other candidates send their wife to talk to me. And I said, hey, you want my endorsement, have him call me. What are you sending a wife for? So I was already hooked. It wasn't trying to take care of my wife to get to me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I don't forget that. And so I remember last year NBC asked me a tough question. Is John McCain your hero? And I paused, and I gave the truth. I never lied. I said, it took me 77 years to find my hero. Now, I gave a 10-year window because when you're really young, you don't know what the word hero means. So I said 77 years to find my hero. Who's that? I said Donald Trump. Because I said that 4 months prior to the interview. It's when I woke up one day, I said, I finally found my hero. I'm not against heroes. I'm talking me personally, my hero.
Yeah.
And it was Donald Trump. She didn't know what to say because she was trying to hook me about McCain. That's why she said that, trying to get me caught. Oh, am I going to say he's my hero or he's not my hero? No, I have one hero. And that's our president. No, I don't care if people like it or don't. You know, some people don't like the president. Doesn't bother me. If you think I'm going to change and flip-flop, like a lot of people do, including Republicans, my love from him comes from my heart. It doesn't come because of politics. A lot of people were against him all at once because they see he's high up in the Republican polls. They all at once get with him, which is great. He needs all the, I don't care how they get to him, but he needs all the help he can get. I didn't want to get on this thing, but I think it's very important.
No, it's a good conversation because I think your life, I think you were one of the first scapegoats of a generation of media and politics that took somebody out that I feel shouldn't have been taken out. I mean, for someone to get charged for profiling illegal Hispanics from coming over the Mexican border is mind-blowing to me. And they got you on contempt of court because you stand staunch on your beliefs about protecting Americans, doing your job, being tough on crime. And let's talk about the fact that, are you really racist? Isn't your daughter-in-law Hispanic? Is that true?
Yeah, you know, I don't get into I did mention my mother dying when given her life. I don't like bringing the family up, and everybody said, no, wait a minute, I'll do it. Everybody says, why don't you talk about your grandkids? You got a Mexican with Down syndrome, you got a black. I said, when they call you a racist, why don't you talk about that?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I don't like doing it. Actually, I have a son-in-law. My daughter used to be a reporter. I have a son-in-law that works for a big newspaper. And I'm not going to say what his job is, but I will say, you know, I'm happy I'm getting a lot of name recognition, but it may not be good, but that's okay. That's okay. So here I am. I got so many dots against me. Anything you mention, you want to talk about Watergate, anything I can talk about. In fact, G. Gordon Liddy and I, 1969, Operation Intercept, under Nixon, he and I ran that operation, closing that Mexican border for 2 weeks. Well, we didn't close it altogether, but we searched everybody, backing cars up to Mexico City. President Nixon sent a message. Unfortunately, or fortunately, they sent me to Mexico City as the regional director. And I covered all Latin America. I had a problem. Mexicans didn't like us. How do I rectify that? So, the Attorney General of Mexico came to my house for dinner. He liked blueberry pie. So my wife started pumping out blueberry pie. And I was smart. I went to the military PX. I got some American whiskey. I got more done with blueberry pie and whiskey. I never had a problem with the Mexicans after that. When our president goes to meet with Putin and the rocket guy from North Korea, they criticize him. Yeah. They almost call it treason. Well, you know what? There's nothing wrong going in the back room and talking face to face, even if it's your enemy. I had an office in Panama, General Noriega, big guy. He was probably playing a little, but I knew him. I used to go down to the bunker, deal with him. What's worse? Do I pull my agents out? I'd rather have the agents there and work with them. I did okay with Noriega. So And it's easy for me because Panama had the military bases there, you know, the land, so I didn't have any trouble getting whiskey in Panama. So what's wrong with negotiating with your so-called enemies?
That's what we're supposed to do.
I don't believe this.
It's just, what I'm seeing is just flagrant hypocrisy in the media, in the political arena. I mean, you've been a victim of that. So what do you, talk about your relationship with Donald Trump and why you feel that you realize that he was your hero. What are the correlations in your mind and heart towards that man?
Okay. Let me tell you one thing. I was the honorary chairman for Arizona for George Bush, also for Mitt Romney, also for Rick Perry. I remember Perry, I was on his bus in Iowa. We went, you know how that works. I'm sure your mayor understands this because you stop. Our first stop was at an ice cream parlor. 300 people. My job was to introduce Rick. Of course, he's always introducing me like I'm running for president. No, he's running for president. But I screwed up from day one. My first introduction. I'm not saying he lost the election because of me. But you know what I did?
What?
I got national press on it, though. CNN, Fox, everybody. Oh, I did. I was trying to praise the people from Iowa. So I said, what a great Buckeye state this is. I guess it's not Buckeye. What is it?
Ohio is the Buckeye state, right? Buckeye.
No.
Right? Iowa is the corn.
I forgot what Iowa is.
Blackhawks. The Blackhawks aren't
you got
Iowa.
Buckeye
Is there anyone in
anyway,
Iowa out there?
Anyway, you don't say Buckeye.
No.
So I got, right off the bat, 300 people stood up and started booing me. So, now, I had a way to get around this. Oh, I got mixed up because I have a town named Buckeye in my county. I kind of slipped up on that. Everywhere.
Yeah.
That I said Buckeye. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So sometimes you screw up when you're on the campaign trail. You know how it is.
I think we all screw up, and I think that it's not fair to have a double standard for you to be guilty of crimes, but yet you try to take the attention off of yourselves and throw it on innocent people. I think that's what's wrong in our country, and I feel bad for our president. He doesn't deserve this. You didn't deserve. Here's my feeling. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say it to you. I'm going to say it to the camera. You don't take a Korean War veteran and a police officer and a lawman his entire career, and you take him out in his glory days over nothing. And it makes me mad. And that's why I wanted to have you on today, so you got to tell people your side of the story, what's happened to you. And I feel that maybe you have that deep bond with our president now because of what you're seeing happen to him, because you experienced it first. Am I correct?
Well, yeah. I never asked for the pardon. Let's get that straight. Yesterday, the San Francisco appellate court looked at my case. I want my Mickey Mouse charge, which, by the way, is the same time as a barking dog. And I went through 10 days as a criminal and on the defense. And then 22 days when the other guy in the civil knew he could not get me, he wanted to throw me in jail, so he had to push that to the other judge who would not give me a jury trial, charged me with the wrong crime. And I'm sure the mayor, I got to ask the mayor here because he was a chief marshal. Very interesting. She wouldn't even call me to court and tell me that I'm found guilty. I had to find it on the radio, right? Mm-hmm. But why did she say you will be sentenced on a Friday afternoon? Was it because it's federal. I wasn't going to go to my own jail. I was going to federal jail, which is great because they have great food. I would have played basketball, bocce in the federal prison. So why would she do it there? I got my gut feeling. I may be wrong, but if I'm put on the handcuffs, and everybody in the world will see me on the handcuffs, go to federal prison. I may have to stay there over the weekend. I don't know. It might be tough making bond. So I would have gotten, they're not going to give me 6 months. Come on. This is all politics to begin with. Now the president comes along, and he pardons me before I go to court, which is kind of unusual. But he knew it was a hatchet job. He knew it. He's living through the same stuff now. They want to impeach him. Now, I always look at this now, when they went after me, it was a contempt of court. You can't impeach a sheriff. So, thinking back now, they didn't impeach me. They just contempt of court me. Okay? Now, I'm a pretty honest guy. If I'm guilty, I'll be the first one to say I screwed up. I'm guilty. No, my deputies and we were not guilty. It was a frame job by 2 judges. And how are you going to have one judge that hates me? I won't get into his wife and what they did to me, the judge's brother-in-law. I'm not going to get into that, but we don't have the time, that's why. And then you push it over to another judge that's next door. You think the other judge is going to say, my colleague, he was wrong. He never should have gone with the contempt of court, right? You know what I'm talking? I was dead from day one.
Yeah.
And there's no way I could come out of there. And everybody in that courtroom, all the activists, they're in court every day. I'm hoping they'd spend a little money, especially when you got the mayor of L.A. coming down, wearing a big shirt, arrest Arpaio. What the hell's he doing down here?
Yeah, good
Now,
question.
I got to go to L.A. He's probably going to try to lock me up in L.A. So why are mayors and George Soros and just recently the Democrat Party went public? Everybody has to donate money so we can take down that guy running, that sheriff. Me, not my Democrat sheriff that's in there right now. I won't get into him. So I got all this after me. But you know what? When I introduced Trump all the time, I had a problem. Because all these other presidential candidates running for office, don't say this. Say this now. No one, Trump or his staff, ever told me what to say and not to say. So here I'm introducing him. I don't know if I'm going to say the wrong thing or not. You know what? I survived because 95% of what I said, not in collusion with him, we just happen to agree. Just by, I don't know, mental telepathy. I don't know what it is. But it's...
I think you are a patriot of America. I believe our president is a patriot. And patriots think alike. I mean, there's a lot of people that the media discounts. Payson, Arizona, the veterans in this town and all over the nation. Police officers, firefighters. We don't like what we're seeing. You're absolutely right. I mean, how disgraceful is it that certain towns, certain states spit on police officers? I mean, one day they're going to need them and they won't be there anymore. So yeah. I believe that you have a lot in common with Trump. I believe that you have a lot in common with most of America. But if you were to listen to the media, you would think it was just the opposite, that you are the rare thorn in everyone's side, that our president is the rare thorn in everyone's side. And I think that Americans really need to step up and say things and protect the people that we have voted into office, because the environment now to run for politics is so hostile. I mean, they'll destroy you if you try to step into the arena. And I think Americans are beginning to see that. We're starting to get angry about it. And there's a lot of people that want to do things for people like you. Now, you're running for sheriff again in 2020. You have a website, arpaioforsheriff.com. So what can the people of Arizona do for you?
Well, I've always gone to the people. I never ask for endorsements. I'm a funny guy. Because usually politicians, I endorse you, I need your help. I don't do that. And I've endorsed some high-level people. I just don't feel like going to them saying, it's your turn, come on, I need money. I've always gone to the people. I don't ask for endorsement. My endorsements come from the people, so I always put my race to get elected, the race, not the personal race, but when I'm running, I call it, I'm racing for, to be sheriff. So I've always done that. So what I need is the people in Maricopa County, but I got big support across the nation. I just got back from Alabama. This twice I've been there. I've been always invited by the chairman of the Republican Party. I went to St. Louis, I went to Texas, now I'm going to Hawaii, and I don't have many people inviting me in the state of Arizona, and my dear friend who's the mayor here used to be chairman of the Republican Party, and he supported me. I'm not saying that's not seem to be happening right now. I won't get into that.
Deborah,
Well, yeah.
real quick comment on this subject. California would love to have you, sir. There are so many Californians watching this show right now, and they're all saying, come to California.
Well, invite me there. I want to meet the mayor. I would hope that maybe somebody knows your Mickey Mouse mayor that you have in L.A., so maybe the mayor will invite me, or I'll go down there, wear a shirt, and say, lock him up. He sure came to my town to get me locked up.
Bam! Karma. Speaking of the mayor, I know it's so enjoyable having you here. It's so refreshing to hear stories directly from you. Talking about hostile environments, your good friend is our Payson mayor, and I'd like to bring him into the conversation because he's being recalled right now. Come on over here, Tom. I'm going to put you here. I'm going to share the mic. For those of you that did not watch our September show last year, this is Tom Morrissey, our local Payson mayor.
You can't move a chair. Should I stand up or you want to sit down?
There you go. So I'm gonna hold this. We'll go back and forth with this. So why don't you back up a little bit? Okay. Yeah. And
Hi, Joe.
just
Where's your horse?
Outside.
so talk about your friendship and your relationship, because you are really the reason that Sheriff Joe is here. And I'm going to call you Sheriff because I believe you're going to be Sheriff again. But go ahead and.
Well, it's an old story, but it comes back to the character of this man sitting to my right. When I was the Chief Deputy U.S. Marshal for the Federal District of Arizona, Joe got elected, and we had known each other a little bit before he got elected. But when he got elected sheriff, at that time, I had an overflow of people in custody, prisoners, who were not adjudicated. They were it was called pre-adjudication, so they could not be put into jails and housed with people who had already been convicted. So I had deputies who were making jail runs to bring people to court to New Mexico, because a lot of the county sheriffs would not take the prisoners because of liability. So I called Joe to congratulate him after he was sworn in, and he said to me, "Tom, what can I do for you?" And he always got that deep voice. And I said, well, can you take a few of my prisoners? How many you got? I said, well, I got about 400, maybe 350 sitting down in Tucson, but I'm okay there because we had an arrangement with the penitentiary. I said, but I got the rest of them, I got probably 500 or so scattered all over, and I really need some help. I need to take a few. He said, bring them all. And I thought that I was having a stroke because I could not believe that he said, bring all the prisoners. He said, I'm the sheriff, and my job is to house these people. Bring them all, and that was the beginning of a friendship that has lasted to this time. But this is a man of conviction. This is a man of strength, and this is a man that when he's your friend, and he tells you something, you can take it to the bank, and that is very, very rare in today's world. And Joe and I have we've had some pretty good times. He mentioned I was chairman of the Arizona Republican Party. And part of the reason why I survived was because of him and his support. I was also the Inspector General at DES. I was appointed there by the governor after I retired from the Marshal Service. And the only reason I didn't get run out of DES because I was a cop in a social services environment was because everybody was afraid of Joe. So anyway, I can't speak. There are no words that I can use to express my gratitude for his friendship, and I've often told him that 100 years from now they'll be talking about Joe Arpaio like we talk about Wyatt Earp today. And Wyatt Earp was a deputy marshal. Joe.
He was?
He was a deputy marshal.
I thought he was a sheriff.
No, he was a deputy marshal. He was a deputy
okay.
marshal, and
right.
his brother Morgan Earp was the U.S. marshal that he was a deputy to. But anyway, that's why, and I really appreciate the opportunity to sing his praises, Deborah.
Well, do you have any advice for your friend who's being recalled?
Well, first of all, you did me a favor by taking those people. Because I'm not stupid. The more people I had, the more tents I could put up. So that's but yeah, I've known Tom for a long time. I've done a lot of corruption with the feds, and even as a sheriff, locked up some political people. I know Tom in this nice town is having a little problem. What do you call it? Recall. They try to recall me many times.
Yeah, recall.
So Tom is a very honest guy. And the only thing I advise you, if you're involved in some corruption, not you, but they'll probably blame you anyway. That's how they do it. But if you are, always remember some senator. I'm not going to say his name. I don't think I'm his guy. When I mentioned a lot of corruption here in Maricopa County, after working in Chicago, New York, and all over on corruption, you know what he said? Oh, that's not corruption. That's the good old boy network.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. I'm sure you probably heard that before in your
I'm
career.
Living it.
Huh?
I'm living it. Right?
Oh, you're.
We kind of got that going on here, a little bit going on here, but that it's true. The old saying is you don't get flack unless you're over the target, and we're getting some flack. And I'm not gonna name that. What I'm trying to do is to bring transparency to our town. Transparency, a level playing field, and integrity. That's all I'm trying to do. When you have those three elements anywhere, you don't have problems. As long as the people understand what's going on, and they have, and I try to empower the people. And my mantra is we, the elected, work for you, the people. We, the people, 3 words that our country's built on. They have the power if they choose to take it, and that's what I'm trying to encourage. And what we have a battle, there's a bias here, and I understand bias. You, Joe, you've been victimized by bias your whole career. But what we have here is there's an innate bias that's opposed to change. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring change in a good way, so that the town is run by the people, not by special interests. And that's it. I have, I don't want to run for sheriff in Maricopa County. I don't want to run for governor. I don't want to run for president. All I want to do is to bring empower the people of this town so that they have the ability to run the town. Period. End of story. The way that we're able to get the word out, and I'll be really brief because I know we're winding now, is I have chats with the mayor every week on Wednesday mornings at 8 o'clock at the Church for the Nations, and we're drawing anywhere from 50 to 70 people every week, every Wednesday morning. Deborah, you were there at the last one. We have open mic. I have an open mic meeting with the community. The last one we had was a couple of weeks ago, and we had 200 people there that came, and the people talk to me, I talk to them. And there's no agenda. And what we have also is I have a Facebook that's called Payson First. And how do we get to that? www.paysonfirst or just Payson First? Facebook. Okay. And I'm not great with the terms and stuff. But anyway, that's how we get the word out. And I got a radio show that I do on 99.7 FM, KPJM LP, and that's a music show. I do music, and I play. I did it my way. As a tribute to our sheriff who does that. But anyway, we're getting the word out. I believe that we have the recall. I feel very confident it's not going to be successful, and we're going to be on trial on Monday. I believe it may get kicked out, and but whatever it is, if we have a recall, here we go.
Probably the president calling it. No, that's Frank Sinatra calling it. My wife doesn't like this song.
Why?
Because, I don't know who, it says at the beginning, and now the end is near. That's how you start.
Please don't say it so.
You've been doing it for 30 years, so it's a long end.
So what a marvelous friendship. I want to thank both of you men for not only serving our country, you're both veterans.
Yes.
You have served the public at the highest of levels, and you, in my humble opinion, are the true heroes of America. And we couldn't be more honored that you both were here. And may God bless your campaign for sheriff. May God bless your campaign for continuance in being mayor. And Joe, I just want to ask you, do you have any closing thoughts for America?
Yeah, General MacArthur said, I shall return, and I'm not taking any prisoners, and I want to win, not for me. There's a lot of work that has to be done, and I want to thank you. Now, I'm not saying you're my hero. I only have one hero, but you are a hero. Utilizing this forum, your time, your resources to get the word out to the people as to what's going on in our country. So I want to thank you for that.
That's an honor. I'm just honored that you would even say that. And wow, I'm going to cry. So I'm going to sign off. It is 10:30. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. What a special, special, special talk show. Please continue to like, share, everyone, and God bless America, and God bless you.